Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Bold and the Beautiful Tuesday, November 4th recap. Beth leaves Sheila off guest list. Taylor's move baffles Ridge. The Bold and the Beautiful B&B recap for Tuesday, November 4th, reveals that Beth Spencer Jordan Grace wanted to leave Sheila Sharp Kimberlyn Brown off the guest list, while Taylor Hayes Rebecca Budig move baffled Ridge Forrester Torsten K. At Forrester Creations, Brooke Logan Forrester Catherine Kelly Lang gave Ridge updates on Deacon Sharp Sean Cannon reuniting with Sheila. Ridge was confused when Brooke suggested Taylor was the reason why. However, Brooke pointed out that Taylor played up the power of forgiveness and inspired Deacon to give Sheila another chance. At Sheila and Deacon's place, she remained elated over their reunion and admitted she'd paid Taylor a visit to thank her. Sheila eventually played up how she wanted to attend Hope and Liam's wedding by Deacon's side, which would show off their strength as a couple. In the Forrester showroom on Tuesday's B&B episode, Electra Forrester Lania Grace insisted an apology couldn't fix what Remy Price Christian Weissman did and vowed that she'd never forgive him. Although Electra praised Deke as a good guy, she pointed out that his boyfriend clearly wasn't. Deke dashed out of the room, so Remy raced after him and begged for a chance to explain in the design office. While Electra, Will Spencer Crew Morrow, Katie Logan Heather Tom and Daphne Rose Muriel Hilaire discussed Remy's nerve just showing up like that, Remy tried to get through to Deke in private. Remy cried over being afraid he'd lose Deke, who called what Remy did to Electra deranged. Although Remy knew he'd made mistakes in the past, he pleaded with Deke to see him for who he was now. At Brooke's house, Bill Spencer Don Diamond was taken aback to learn Beth would be serving as Hope and Liam's wedding officiant. After Bill joked around with Beth, he expressed how proud he was of Liam for repairing his family. Once Hope arrived later, she discussed more wedding plans with Beth and Liam. Beth admitted there was someone she didn't want at the nuptials since that person made her feel weird. Liam and Hope wondered who Beth meant, so she confessed she was talking about Sheila. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Sheila may have some bad news headed her way now that Beth's standing against her involvement, so stay tuned for any other drama that might break out. The morning light spilled across the Forrester estate, illuminating a day that seemed deceptively calm on the surface. But underneath the polished floors and designer wardrobes, tension simmered ready to ignite. It was the kind of day where every conversation carried a double meaning, every smile prompted suspicion, and every promise felt one step away from breaking. At Forrester Creations, Hope arrived early, her heels echoing through the executive hallways like a clock counting down to disaster. She clutched a portfolio of new hope for the future designs but hardly glanced at it. Instead, her thoughts spun around Thomas, who had disappeared for hours the night before without explanation. When Thomas finally entered the design office, he looked freshly pressed and dangerously calm, which only unsettled Hope more. She asked again where he'd gone the previous evening. Thomas only smirked. There are some things better left unspoken. The answer had been crafted for irritation. It worked. Hope's face flushed with frustration. She'd been trying to trust him, trying to believe everyone who insisted that he'd changed. But this cryptic behavior was all too familiar. Before she could press further, Steffi strode in, fully prepared to defend her brother as always. Whatever drama you're creating doesn't belong here, Steffi snapped. Thomas doesn't owe you a play-by-play of his private life. Hope lifted her chin. When that private life affects my job and my son, yes, he does. It wasn't quite an ultimatum, but the silence that followed suggested it would soon become one. Steffi dismissed Hope's concerns and pivoted to business. Ridge wanted to preview the new collections by end of day. Thomas agreed, but the underlying hostility didn't fade. The siblings exited together, leaving Hope alone with her doubts and that nagging fear that she was losing control of everything she'd worked so hard to protect. At the Cliff House. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Finn had his own concerns, specifically Sheila. The doorbell chimed, and despite his better judgment, Finn answered to find Sheila on the porch, flanked by yet another bouquet of flowers that looked absurdly soft for someone capable of stabbing people both metaphorically and literally. "Don't slam the door on me," Sheila said, her voice trembling in practiced vulnerability. "I just want to talk." Finn did not invite her inside. He stood firmly between her and the threshold. "You promised to stay away," he reminded her. "Every time I try to believe you've changed, you do something like this." What Sheila had done or was rumored to have done had been spreading, but no one knew the details yet. Only that it involved Remy, a new figure in town no one could fully decipher. Maybe a friend. Maybe a pawn. Sheila tried a gentler approach, pleading that she had information, something about Steffi. Finn demanded specifics, but Sheila only hinted that Steffi's secret deal involving an out-of-state investor could blow up spectacularly. Before Finn could question further, Steffi arrived home unexpectedly, grocery bag in hand. She froze at the sight of Sheila on the porch. She dropped the bag. "What did I tell you? Stay away from my family." Her fury hit like a hurricane, whipping through every branch, slamming the door behind Finn as he guided Sheila away from the house, but her last words lingered. "You don't know the whole story, Finn." Finn had never wanted to know. Now it seemed inevitable. At the Forrester mansion. Inside the Forrester mansion, Eric sat at his drafting table, staring at a blank sheet of paper with a mixture of frustration and unspoken fear. His health, once only whispered about, was becoming too obvious to hide. Donna hovered close, insisting he rest, pushing tea into his hands like medicine. But Eric was determined. "If my designs are fading," he murmured, "then I want my family to see them before the light goes out completely." Donna's eyes glossed with tears. She promised to stand by him. To protect him. But Eric shook his head. "No one can protect me from this. Not even you." Just then, Brooke entered unannounced, sensing tension even before words were spoken. She asked Eric directly how he felt. Eric brushed off concern, yet Brooke recognized the strain in his voice and his hands. She insisted on calling Ridge. Eric refused, reminding her it was his right to keep his medical information private until he was ready to share. The conversation shifted to Hope and Thomas, another battle no one seemed able to escape. Brooke insisted Hope was being manipulated again. Eric offered a measured response, reminding her that their family had overcome darker seasons. "Change is possible," Eric said softly. "Even in the most damaged of hearts." Brooke wasn't convinced. Back at Forrester Creations. Late afternoon found Ridge reviewing designs from multiple teams. He praised Thomas' bold silhouettes but questioned minor details, a lack of depth in the concept. Thomas took notes, but his gaze drifted often, especially toward the hallway where Hope had vanished hours before. As Ridge worked, Carter entered, carrying a folder stamped with legal insignia. "We've got a problem," he announced. Everyone braced. Carter explained that a competitor had filed a claim accusing Thomas of design theft. The timing felt surgical. Thomas protested vehemently, insisting the work was original. Ridge believed him but couldn't ignore the optics. "If there's even a whisper of truth, we need proof of your innocence." Thomas was furious. "You're always ready to doubt me. Even when I've done everything to earn your respect." Hope reappeared at that moment, watching the father-son clash unfold. For a moment, Thomas looked to her for support, but she remained frozen, still unsure where she stood. Rich ordered a halt to the presentation until his legal team verified ownership. Thomas left in anger, brushing past Hope, who followed reluctantly. It all felt like the start of another spiral. At Il Giardino. As the sun set, Deacon lingered outside his restaurant, troubled. He had heard whispers about Sheila's newest alliance, one involving Remy and what sounded dangerously like extortion. Deacon thought he had distanced himself from her chaos, but the truth was, Sheila always had a way of reappearing like a bad memory. Hope arrived at the restaurant seeking advice, not food. She admitted that doubt had crept back into her relationship with Thomas. Deacon reminded her that trust wasn't blind, it was earned. If he's hiding something, Deacon quietly warned, that's the part that should scare you. Hope nodded, unsure if she feared Thomas' secret or how much she still cared. Final moments. Back at the Cliff House, Steffi replayed her encounter with Sheila. Finn suggested they call security, but Steffi insisted on handling it herself. She thinks she knows something about me, Steffi said. But what she doesn't know, what no one knows, is that I've already made a deal she'll never see coming. Whatever that meant, Finn didn't like it. Elsewhere, Thomas stood alone in the Forrester office, staring out the window. He made a quiet phone call. It has to stay buried. No one can know. Whoever was on the other line answered softly and chillingly. I understand. Our secret is safe. The screen faded, leaving only questions and the promise that nothing would remain hidden for long.